I just finished watching the Xiaomi SU7 launch presentation, and I'm extremely disappointed. Do they even understand what an SUV is supposed to be? SUVs are built to go off-road, to carry large luggage in the trunk, to handle both mountains and rivers. But Xiaomi's SU7 is focused on sporty handling, sacrificing space and practicality. Am I supposed to take my wife and kids drifting in this car? At a price point of 300,000 yuan, a range of just 770 kilometers is mediocre. It offers no clear advantage over Tesla's Model Y. The design also raises concerns. It looks like a copy of Ferrari. Is this kind of imitation really acceptable? The only so-called highlight is the 360-degree projection display, which BMW has already had for years. To be honest, this car isn't groundbreaking in any way, and the specs don't offer much value for money. I honestly don't know who this is supposed to be for. On May 23rd, a vlogger remarked in a video that the whole world might be laughing at China right now. Xiaomi's SU7 has been accused of copying Ferrari, prompting Ferrari's official website to issue a late-night statement. On May 22nd, during its 15th anniversary product launch event, Xiaomi officially unveiled its first SU7 model, the Xiaomi SU7. The vehicle quickly drew criticism online, with many pointing out that its color and design closely resemble a Ferrari model, raising accusations of plagiarism. Before the launch, Xiaomi had repeatedly promoted the car's emerald green version on Chinese blog platform Weibo, claiming the color was inspired by Colombian emeralds. Just 15 minutes before Xiaomi's launch event, Ferrari China posted an article on its official social media account with the title translated as Mr. Ferrari's exclusive Puro Sangue. The post featured a green Puro Sangue model and introduced Ferrari's exclusive Verde Dora color. The article stated, "The beauty of customization begins with color. Spanning 60 years, this unique shade redefines a classic." Ferrari's signature Verde Dora looks strikingly similar to the gemstone green color featured on the newly unveiled Xiaomi SU7. Last night's Xiaomi SU7 didn't just copy Ferrari's design, it replicated the color too. In fact, the rise of Xiaomi's car reflects the state of our society today. History will remember just how absurd this era truly was. There is no substitute for the Ferrari FUV, only imitations and knockoffs. On May 22nd, well-known automotive vlogger Chen Zhen shared a series of photos of the Ferrari Puro Sangue on his social media. He specifically noted that the color was a customized version made for Piero Ferrari, the son of Enzo Ferrari. Senior Vice President of Geely Holdings Group, Mr. Yang Shui Liang, later reposted the photo and commented, "This looks great," which further fueled online discussion. Many online observers pointed out that the fastback design and body proportions of the Xiaomi SU7 closely resemble the Ferrari Puro Sangue. Xiaomi's promotional messaging emphasized million-level design made accessible, leading many to believe the brand is deliberately trying to associate its car with luxury models. Some users jokingly refer to the Xiaomi SU7 as Ferrami, a mashup of Ferrari and Xiaomi. Previously, when the SU7's design drew comparisons to Porsche, others marked it as Xiaomi. Numerous vloggers have posted videos questioning the Xiaomi SU7. After the SU7 launched yesterday, I checked some comments on overseas video platforms, and honestly, it was shocking. The label of copycat car is back again. Sure, in design, there can be moments of shared inspiration, but when the same thing happens twice, it's hard to believe it's just coincidence. Ferrari even responded indirectly yesterday, but let's be real, they don't want to engage with this at all. It also happened to be Piero Ferrari's 80th birthday. He's the son of Ferrari founder Enzo Ferrari. And the Puro Sangue they showcased was green, the exact same color Xiaomi used as the SU7 signature. And about the interior, BMW had already finalized the design of its next-generation dashboard. Then a former BMW designer joins Xiaomi, and suddenly the SU7 has the exact same panoramic display? Are we really supposed to believe all of this is just a coincidence? Lei Jun said two things during the launch. First, he said, Xiaomi wants to create designs that stand the test of time. That's right. Porsche stands the test of time. Ferrari stands the test of time. So I just want to ask, who are you planning to stand the test of time with next? Some vloggers argue that Ferrari is being too petty. Some said Ferrari seemed a bit narrow-minded. Right after Xiaomi introduced the SU7 in gemstone green, Ferrari China posted on social media. They didn't say anything directly, but everyone knew what it meant. Looks like Porsche is still the one with a bigger mindset. Some vloggers raised concerns about the quality of Xiaomi's cars. They pointed out that many Chinese-made vehicles may look impressive on the outside, but when you take a closer look at the chassis, some are near identical copies of foreign models, while others are patchwork of different overseas designs. Cars like these often deliver a poor driving experience, but there was also those who defended Xiaomi against the plagiarism accusations. This issue shouldn't be blamed on Xiaomi alone. After all, the lack of original innovation is a widespread problem here. We've long operated at the level of minor and applied innovations. For latecomers, imitation might be the first step, but hopefully we can move faster on the path from imitators to true winners. One vlogger remarked that this kind of copying is nothing new in China, and it mainly stems from consumer vanity. First of all, most people in China can't afford a Ferrari that costs over 7 million yuan, but there's a new term here, affordable alternative. Buying a Xiaomi SU7 gives you the feeling of driving a Ferrari for just over 200,000 yuan. And if someone could swap the logo for me, it would sell even better. The problem is, Xiaomi is now a Fortune Global 500 company, so changing the badge officially is unlikely. But go to a repair shop, pay 50 yuan, and they'll gladly do it for you. Second, people said the SU7 copied Porsche, but look at how well it's selling. That shows most Chinese consumers, especially Xiaomi fans, don't really care about plagiarism. Third, and most importantly, the SU7 was said to mimic a 1 million yuan Porsche, but this new YU7 mimicked a 7 million yuan Ferrari. That sense of vanity? It's far stronger than what the SU7 offered. One content creator pointed out that Lei Jun has made his fortune by relying on copying. Right now, a lot of car makers are copying Porsche. There's no other way, since Porsche's design is considered the best in the world. But others only borrow small elements, then redesign the rest to make it their own. At least when you look at those cars, they don't scream Porsche at first glance. Xiaomi, on the other hand, basically took a measuring tape and made a one-to-one copy. Sure, they made some changes. The taillights were flipped, and the headlights were replaced with ones that looked like the McLaren 720S. But those changes seem to underestimate people's intelligence. Honestly, I have no idea what Lei Jun's highly paid design team has been doing. He even hired a former BMW designer as a consultant. I can only imagine how that meeting went. Lei Jun rolls out the car, asks the consultant, "Does it look like a Porsche?" The consultant says, "Yeah, it does." Lei Jun replies, "Perfect. Transfer the money." One content creator stated that copying others show a lack of respect, not just for others, but also for oneself.
我想问问大家，如果你做自己的品牌文化，
I want to ask everyone, if you were building your own brand identity, would you really copy someone else's design like this? You have to understand that a car's exterior and interior design are a core part of its brand tone. I studied fine arts, and from my perspective on automotive design, if you truly respect your own brand culture, you wouldn't copy others like this. It's like an artist claiming someone else's work as their own and doing so with a straight face. I honestly can't understand how distorted someone's values must be to act with such hypocrisy. They say they respect others, but in reality, they're just copying, because copying at its core is a disrespectful act. It's not just about disrespecting others' designs. It shows a deeper issue, a lack of respect for their own brand. Before we even talk about respecting others, can they start by respecting themselves? Amid the plagiarism controversy, some have said that Xiaomi has brought shame to Chinese people on a global level.
终于明白为什么法拉利
Now do you finally understand why Ferrari and Rolls-Royce don't attend the Shanghai Auto Show? But even if they don't show up, it doesn't matter. Look, they didn't come. Yet here we are with a China-style Ferrari on display anyway. Rolls-Royce is probably trembling now, expecting a China-style Cullinan to appear soon too. I really don't get it. If you copy two different cars this closely, is it because you can't design your own? Or do you just think theirs look better and copying is easier? You've done this twice now. How are people supposed to trust you after that? Yet the founder of the company stands on stage and seriously says, "We didn't copy a single detail." So is it that your understanding of plagiarism is different, or are we the ones who don't get it? Business needs to have some basic integrity. Honestly, is this a global embarrassment? You've dragged down the reputation of China's entire auto industry. You've embarrassed all Chinese people in front of the world. Now, I'm really curious, what will Xiaomi's third car look like?
总结出了一个结论呢，就是
In short, Xiaomi's success has led me to one conclusion. If you don't understand something, just copy it. A used car vlogger brought up Zoye Auto, once notorious for copying designs, as an example. He gave an example of a Zoye's Landwind brand. From the outside, it was hard to tell whether it was a real Land Rover or a Landwind. The Zoye SR looked nearly identical to a Porsche at first glance, but once you stepped inside, it became obvious the interior quality was seriously lacking.
当年这个众泰汽车要是能坚持到现在做电车，
I used to hear people talk about Chinese cars overtaking the curve. Turns out it wasn't about overtaking, it was about taking and copying. 10 years ago, Chinese automaker Zoye rose to fame by mimicking luxury brands, most notably with the SR9, a model that closely resembled the Porsche Macan. At its peak, the SR9 saw annual sales surpassing 330,000 units, making headlines across the country. In 2016, the SR9 grabbed massive attention thanks to its strikingly similar appearance to the Porsche Macan, but the car's success was short-lived. Starting in 2017, sales began to plummet as quality issues emerged. Monthly sales fell from thousands to hundreds, and eventually to zero. In the end, Zoye's founder, Ying Jianren, was left with a staggering debt of 76 billion yuan. In December 2020, Zoye Auto announced that its parent company, Tech New Group, had officially declared bankruptcy due to severe insolvency and the inability to continue operations. Some believe Xiaomi is now heading down the same path. For years, the company has been known for exaggerated marketing claims, and just recently, Xiaomi Auto was hit by a major scandal. Following the fatal highway fire involving the Xiaomi SU7 at the end of March, where 3 female college students were tragically burned, Xiaomi's high-end model, the SU7 Ultra, came under fire again in May. This time, the controversy centered on its advertised carbon fiber dual-duct front hood, which sparked widespread backlash. Many owners accused Xiaomi Auto of false advertising, and hundreds of customers who had already placed deposits demanded refunds. A vlogger outside of China commented that Xiaomi brought this onto itself. The company hyped the car for attention, pushing it to extreme heights. Now the backlash from the hype is coming back in full force. This incident isn't just a collapse of market spin, it has caused consumers' trust in the brand to plunge and expose how automakers are cashing in on the concept of high-end customization. Also during the press conference on the evening of May 22nd, Xiaomi chairman Lei Jun announced the debut of the company's self-developed smartphone SoC chip, the Surge 01. This chip was claimed to be built using 3nm process technology, putting it far ahead of Huawei's 7nm chips. Xiaomi also stated that the Surge 01 has reached world-class performance levels.
我们自主研发的
Our self-developed smartphone SoC chip, the Xuanjie 01, the Xianjue 01. According to Lei Jun's presentation at the launch event, the Xuanjie 01 uses TSMC's second-generation 3nm process technology known as N3E. Chinese media claim that the Xuanjie 01 is the first 3nm chip developed in mainland China and is expected to become the most powerful representative among domestically made smartphone chips. But before the chip's official debut, a former Xiaomi employee took to Weibo to reveal that the Xuanjie 01 is not the self-developed chip Lei Jun claimed it to be. They alleged that many of the chip's IP components were simply purchased off the shelf. The whistleblower also accused the company of unfair labor practices and fabricating technical achievements. The former employee who claimed to have worked on the Xuanjie-01 project also alleged serious labor issues within the company. He said employees were forced to work excessive overtime to meet deadlines without any overtime pay. His post sparked heated discussions online, but not long after the article was published, his account was deleted and all related posts disappeared. In addition, after Xiaomi announced that the chip uses TSMC's second-generation 3nm process, many online users raised questions. Isn't China under US sanctions when it comes to advanced chip technology? So how is TSMC still allowed to manufacture 3nm chips for a Chinese company? In response to this question, a vlogger offered a detailed explanation. Previously, TSMC restricted high-end chip manufacturing for many Chinese companies such as HiSilicon, Sunway, More Threads, and Flame, Cambricon Technologies due to various reasons. These Chinese semiconductor firms have all been sanctioned by the US, so TSMC is prohibited from producing high-end chips for them. So why can TSMC manufacture high-end chips for Xiaomi? The main reason is that US chip restrictions are not solely based on process technology, but primarily on the transistor count per chip. According to the US Department of Commerce regulations for 2024, a single chip must have fewer than 30 billion transistors to be eligible for manufacturing. Xiaomi's Xuanjie-01 has 19.1 billion transistors, well below the 30 billion limit, so it can be produced. The manufacturing permission is not about the nanometer process, but rather the transistor count. Additionally, Xiaomi's chip uses an external baseband, meaning it still relies on Qualcomm or MediaTek for communication technology. Both companies hold 5G patents controlled by the US. In other words, the performance ceiling for Xiaomi's chip is effectively capped by US patent controls. No matter how fast Xiaomi moves, it remains under US control. Simply put, Xiaomi's chip poses no threat to US core interests, so the US is not intervening for now. Before the Biden administration's AI chip regulations took effect on May 15, President Donald Trump stepped in abruptly, announcing the repeal of the previous administration's AI diffusion framework. He introduced a series of stricter export control measures, explicitly stating that using Huawei's Ascend series AI chips anywhere in the world violates U.S. export rules. On May 19th, Malaysia initially announced plans to collaborate with Huawei to deploy Ascend chips nationwide, but retracted the statement the following day. Additionally, after President Trump's visit to the Middle East, countries in the region received chip supplies from U.S. company NVIDIA. Director and researcher at the Institute for National Defense and Security Research in Taiwan, Dr. Zhu Yun-Su, believes that if the Middle East, Malaysia, and Vietnam join the Western technology bloc, China's chip industry and related technologies will effectively be frozen. This would leave China with only its domestic market, which is becoming highly competitive internally, potentially causing a hard economic landing for the CCP. Another vlogger commented that China's chip industry still can only survive under US restrictions. What's frustrating is the arrogant attitude of some Chinese companies, constantly boasting about being far ahead without showing the humility expected from the Chinese nation. Let's take a look at what Lei Jun said at the launch event. We have worked for 4 to 5 years, and today we present this for everyone's evaluation. It even surpasses the latest generation of Apple. We believe we are on par with Apple, very, very close. In everyday use, it is smooth, power efficient, and does not overheat. We have made significant advancements beyond Apple. The vlogger explained that when Lei Jun claimed Xiaomi has surpassed Apple, insiders know what's really going on. Chinese smartphone makers test their devices under extreme conditions because chips automatically throttle performance when they overheat. To maximize benchmark scores, these companies push chip performance to the limit without regard for power consumption and use liquid nitrogen cooling during tests. Then they compare these extreme condition results to Apple's normal performance, claiming to have surpassed Apple. This is a common tactic among all Chinese manufacturers. The creator hopes Xiaomi won't follow Huawei's old path, constantly boasting, using patriotism to manipulate users, or exploiting the domestic innovation label as a gimmick to sell overpriced, underperforming products and exploit customers. China expert Yue Shan stated that under the CCP rule, the party leads everything, and industrial development must serve political needs. This causes rushed, uncoordinated efforts like the Great Leap Forward's mass steel production campaign that led to a 3-year famine. Today's focus on electric vehicles, chips, and AI is similarly driven by short-term gains. Chinese companies take shortcuts by copying Western brands, turning China into a knockoff nation. The reality shows that copied products often suffer from poor quality and frequent failures. In recent years, even the chip industry has become a stalled project.